That's our official green flag. Yeah, that's right. Well, here we go, folks. Boy, it seems like it was a long time since I saw y'all. But yeah, we're gonna meet here, and of course on election day. So now everybody's anxious to get out of here and get in front of your TV for the results. But we don't talk politics on this.
I don't know. I'm going to go back to a rerun of Supernatural.
Okay. And I'm going solo tonight. Renee is at a state park meeting tonight, so I'm gonna play solo. So think about this: before Mount Rushmore was carved, its beauty was unprecedented.
Oh my God.
Uh,
Wow.
that was just a
Wait a
thought
minute.
that was just a thought I had.
Put on.
I tried to write some poetry since I last saw y'all. Here's one I wrote: Mary had a little lamb, and the doctor nearly fainted. That's all I could come up with.
Oh, geez.
So
I've heard that one.
okay. Yeah, if you watch Facebook, you'll hear all these. And taller people sleep longer in bed. I'm just full of it tonight,
Indeed.
sort of thing. So, all right. Let's get into our intro here tonight. I got to hit the right button there. Okay, there we go.
Where'd that go? Okay.
Okay, so tonight's the 134th edition of the Zoom Rock Room. And Renee just said rock on, folks. That's her words of wisdom for tonight. So anyway, always sponsored by Lair Architect out of Lake Havasu City, Arizona. Designing for the future. I see in the weather for tomorrow morning at Lake Havasu, there's a frost warning. So it's going to be a little cool out there in the next couple of days compared to what's going to be here. So anyway, we encourage you to email them and Paul Marcel and say hello, Lair Architect at yahoo.com. Retro Rocks, that's one of our newest sponsors that has come on board. And they're located at 1809 Columbia Avenue in Lancaster. It's a very unique store. Fossils, minerals, gemstones, jewelry, clothing, scents, soaps, new and used vinyl and CD records, and about anything else you can think of. So half the shop is geology related, and the back half are all records and albums and CDs. So it's just kind of a neat place to walk into. You don't have to buy anything, just go in. I heard about you on the Zoom Rock Room, and Steve Hess will appreciate knowing that we still plug him. Andrew Dirtman Epic, our official for videographer. Um, it was going to be a video tonight, probably, but he has gotten delayed at the polling station tonight. So November 19th show we'll have the next episode of Dirtman. But check him out on Facebook. Andrew Rockhound. I'm not sure which one we were going to see tonight. I know he's working on a pretty cool one that he advertised earlier a couple days ago. Buttonwood Nature Center, home of the Institute in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. Educate, inspire, unite. I was going to have the executive director, Tracy Holliday, on board tonight. But Tracy let me know today that she's fighting a cold and doesn't want to appear on the camera this time. So we'll get back together coming down the road here because there's a lot of stuff going on in Buttonwood Nature Center right now. Hopefully, gearing toward a spring 2025 opening of their new property. So you can find them on Facebook and all the programs that are being offered in surrounding parks that they are using until the home lot is done and ready for visitors. Red Lion telescopes with Wade Kraut. Tell you what, I've been seeing some pretty cool pictures coming out of a telescope that Wade has in stock. If you're into astrophotography and you don't know much, you don't know anything about astrophotography, this telescope for $450 does all the work for you. And those uh, those pictures that the scope's been creating are just really not to be funny, they're out of this world. But um, so contact Wade Crowd if you're interested to find out more about this. He does have his living room is his shop in suburban Red Lion, York County. Rocking in the Alleghenies, Johnstown, the Friends of Mineralogy Pennsylvania chapter symposium. Actually, this weekend and November 9th and 10th. Maybe since I don't think Steve Lindbergh's in here, Bill, you just want to go over this a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Yes, we have a show that is open to the public. And I think we have 4 or 5 dealers in there, and it's open to the public for free. The symposium we have every single year for 40 plus years. I don't know how long, but a long time. This is the second year we've been at Pitt Johnstown. It was a kind of an experiment. Steve Lindbergh came to one of our symposia, and he and I worked a little bit on the new Paris quarry together. We flew that, and we got talking to him after the symposium, and he offered to host us. So we were very thankful about that. It's a fantastic facility. And only real problem is it's in the middle of nowhere, and not in a particularly well mineralized area. But of course, you all know about New Paris, and last year we had our field trip to New Paris. This year, our field trip is going to be to Mount Pleasant Mills, and some of you may know, may have been there this year, that I ran a second machine dig there. And we did one in 2022, Ryan Klockner and I, and this year it was Tommy Green and I were the funding mechanism, and uh, Andrew Dirtman graciously took off of work, and we have so much video, it's just insane. And I didn't have time to edit it down. I think we'll wind up probably having 3 or 4 different episodes online. But what we're doing this year, Ron's going to be talking about barrels of Pennsylvania. Ross is going to pick up my talk on pyromorphite and amend it with some new information. There's some cool things going on out there. And of course, I'm giving the Wavelite talk. This is not the most current. Let me just check. There are 3 other talks. Um, let me just see something real quick. Bob Altamore has given a talk. I forgot what his is about. Shoot. And Tomer Shapiro is giving a talk on green diopside from the Cascade Slide up in Essex County, New York. He's working on that now. I'm kind of giving him a little bit of guidance on it. And there is one other talk, but it's escaping me who it is. So, it's a great event. Highly recommend people attend in person. If you just want to attend by the symposium on Saturday via Zoom, you can do that and come to the field trip, which may be closer for some of you. That'll be from 10 a.m. to 4 or right before the sun sets. We get everybody together and get them out of there. But these are the guys who are the experts. I'll consider myself a subject expert, but Ron Sloto is expert. Bob Baltimore, he's expert. If you want to really know the real uh, nit and gritty about these deposits and the minerals that occur there, and see cool pictures and cool video, please join us. It's pretty cheap, $15 for non-members and 10 for members, and you're always welcome to join. This is about the only thing we do all year long, other than the 10 field trips that are put on, jointly with others. So it's a great chance to hear some excellent talks from great speakers. I'll set myself to the side on that part. So
Right.
anyway, Mount Pleasant Mills Quarry for Wavelite, you'll have yours truly directing traffic, and I know where we buried a bunch of good stuff because the hull was collapsing on us this year. So,
There you go.
yeah. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that.
Okay. Thank you, Bill.
Mhm.
Schedule coming up next time we get together with you. I'm going to talk about Atreus Wainer, who is a York Countyan who got to be famous having a dinosaur named after him, and also found some extraordinary, very, very old trilobite sites in York and Lancaster County. He was an educator also in his full-time job. December 3rd, I'll do a program on sinkholes, generally in Pennsylvania, and more notably within the southeast region of Pennsylvania. Our Zoom Rock Room Christmas program will be on December 17th. More about that a little bit later. Dr. Phil Stokes, he is the director of the Penn-Dixie Fossil Park and Nature Preserve in New York, will be with us January 7th. That's going to be a great night, great program. We're going to give you off January 21st. And then February 4th, the Tewksbury, North New Jersey earthquakes by Greg Herman. And some of you may remember that name, Greg Herman. He talked to us about the impact craters on Earth and how they influence the local geology, including Pennsylvania with the Chesapeake Bay impact. And more recently, he was here and did a program last year on the lunar impact craters. And we are lining up some archaeological, a couple of archaeological programs coming up after the February 4th date. And maybe some of you may have gotten out to see the comet. I call it Comet T Atlas 2024. Several weeks ago, this is a picture that I took with my cell phone in our front yard, and this is one of the first nights that it was visible, and that's Venus down here in the left hand corner. But pretty good display of that meteor. I mean, of that comet. So I'll go back here. I'm going to embarrass somebody tonight. I see she's in the room. I believe I think I saw her. Melanie Markowski, your president accountant. There you are. Okay, yeah. Um, this little bird, I've been told you were awarded a huge an award very recently. It's called the Perennial Bloom Award by the Central Atlantic region of the state garden clubs. I believe this convention was held in New Jersey, if I remember right, and 7-state region. And you kind of had to work up through the ranks. You won a local award, and they nominated you, and now you won this award for the I call it the CARSIG organization, again, the Central Atlantic region of state garden clubs. So I know that had to be an exciting time for you. Is that something that you did not know about?
I knew that it went to Pennsylvania at convention. They announced it, but I never ever thought it would go through the 7 states because that's 27,000 people. that it got picked from. And so I was pretty excited.
I bet. And you've been a long time member of the Green Thumb Garden Club.
Yep.
I know one time you had a great soils program presented to that club.
Yeah, you did.
But
I think you were there a couple times.
yeah, I guess I was. Not since you said that. So I read researching this. I read that your name will now be inscribed forever on the award-winning uh, catalog of winners for the organization. So congratulations to you
Thank you, Gary.
for all the work that you have done to achieve that. And if anybody else ever gets any awards, folks, let me know. We'll embarrass you too. No, but anyway, yeah, we love to we love to hear that. So, before I introduce the speaker tonight, we're gonna let you know, keep me in prayer in the next in 2 days. I'm getting my I'm going in for my trade. I'm trading in my knee for a new knee on Thursday. So I'm going to be not running the mile run until probably next Tuesday. So just keep me in prayer. I'm a little nervous about maybe I'm afraid the surgeon's going to put the joint in backwards and I'll be walking like an ostrich. But yeah, just keep me in prayer a little bit.
Make sure they do the correct one.
Well, that's he always puts an X on it when he comes in to see you. So anyway, my wife had the same surgeon. She's doing wonderful. So I'll be back to see you on the 19th of November, sort of thing. So okay. So we're gonna move on and introduce Bill Stevens here. He was with us. I think Bill, you were in the first year that we started this, late 2020 or early 2021. Uh, but Bill Stevens is a licensed professional geologist in many states. Current president of the Friends of Mineralogy Pennsylvania chapter and the Friends of Mineralogy National. Immediate past president of the Eastern Federation of Mineralogical and Lapidary Societies. And he's also president of Stevens Environmental Consulting, which is a full service environmental consulting, engineering, and surveying company servicing in the Mid Atlantic region since 1995. He's also a current officer with the Eastern Federation of Mineralogical and Lapidary Society Region 4 and 5. Bill holds a BS and MS in geology from the University of Pittsburgh, main campus. And Bill's been involved in many publications, but he's recently co-authored a privately published book on a discovery of the world-class Herkimer diamond quartz crystals. And Bill has become a sought-after speaker for many clubs, as well as providing professional development seminars for the professional geologist community and the Maryland Society of Surveyors at their annual conventions. Now, Bill started collecting at the age of 11 after being inspired by a National Geographic article on gems of the Eastern Appalachians, and family and later college buddies. Collecting trips focused on collecting mainly in North Carolina, with incidental trips to southeastern Pennsylvania, where he collected at the famous Phoenixville, French Creek, and Cornwall iron mine. And more recently, Bill has developed, as he's been talking about earlier, a passion for machine digs, where he did this at Diamond Hill, the Hogg mine, which he will be talking about tonight in Maine, sites in Herkimer, and 2 machine digs again at Mount Pleasant Mills here in Pennsylvania. So, Bill, we appreciate you being here again tonight. We look forward to hearing about the Hogg mine, and it's all yours.
Thank you. All right, am I sharing my screen here or
You should.
let's see, share. All right, that's I think it's screen 3. Hopefully it's screen 3. Hang on here. Let me get the slideshow going on the beginning. Can everybody see that?
Not yet.
No. Okay, so something's not right. Escape. Oh, I have to actually tell it to share after I select the screen.
There
My
we go.
bad.
You're heading that way.
Okay, slideshow from the beginning. Can you see it now?
I see a Zoom page.
Zoom
Oh,
page.
there we go. You're up and running now.
Hog Mine, Tale of Two Machine Digs.
You're good.
Okay, so the Hog Mine is let's see, is located in LaGrange, Troup County, Georgia. It's really close to the Alabama line, and the reason for the 3/23/22 update was I happened to be passing by on my way to Fort Benning to do a job down there, and it's like right on the way. It's like 45 minutes from Fort Benning, so I got to spend some time with Chris. But anyway, you're looking at a picture of the quartz core here, and this puddle here is where the rains accumulated after they were digging underneath. Um, but it's a really cool site. There's not a lot written on the geology and mining history. You can see a mine map here from it was also called the Mineral Processing Company. And this is from 1954 out of the Georgia Mineral Newsletter. To give you a scale here, the quartz lens core is over 400 feet long, and it has been proven down to a depth of at least 90 feet. The primary material produced from this was beryl crystals, um, and it produced both gemstone and beryl for mostly military and space applications. From 1938 to 1959, this mine produced 172,401 pounds of beryl crystals, 3,000 pounds of gem material that was sent to Eder Oberstein, California and Ohio for cutting. There's not a lot of history after that. You can see this cover page here with the kid resting his hands on a beryl crystal that probably weighs a couple 100 pounds. So that gives you an idea about what you're looking at. And that is the most 1958. That's the most recent, I don't want to say professional, but scholarly publication on the mine. Here's some pictures from the Georgia Mineral Newsletter on, how they were mining. Basically, back in those days, they were digging in the kaolin around and up against the quartz core. And on the right-hand side, you can see they were bagging, 100-pound bags or whatever they were of beryl. And the U.S. government bought all of it. So that it was definitely for space age purposes, and then it laid kind of fallow for a while. Here's a picture of it in 2018. The Hog Mine store is located here. The nearby roadway is just off to your right out of view. It has parking areas and roads that go to other locations around the mine, but currently Chris Painter is operating it. He's been operating it for about 10 or 15 years. It's almost full time now. Though I wasn't able to talk to him tonight, his voicemail's full, but I believe they're still open. And you can see this is the puddle we were looking at earlier. And all of this is quartz core. There's spoils out here in front of these cars, roadway going back in, and it's a long linear pegmatite body, not highly differentiated like some of the gem pegmatites that have all different kinds of beautiful crystal species in it, but still produces some fantastic, very dark colored beryl for our country. Back in the day, and are we seeing junk at the top here, this chat and all that other stuff? You guys seeing that? Oops. Yeah. Anyway, in the old days before Chris had retired, yeah, the address and the Google pin for the mine was at the McDonald's in town. He didn't want people going in there, and just randomly trespassing and stealing stuff. So, if you wanted to go there, everybody would meet at the McDonald's and you'd sign all the paperwork and everything. And this was my first trip, I believe. I forget if it was 2018. Yeah, it's 2018 was the first trip there. So at the mine that year when we did the machine dig, and this was an organized machine dig, I just participated in it. It wasn't one that I ran. They also had sales, and some people brought some stuff to sell, and you can see there's some beautiful rose quartz. That's the other thing in this quartz core. Just tremendous amount of fantastic rose quartz. A lot of it's cuttable. You can see in this one little tray down here, a little white box, the guy's got a blue pair of aquamarine next to a pink pair of the rose quartz. This was a great trip. This piece on the right-hand side there, that's a piece of rose quartz that's very silky. Almost certainly we get several star stones out of that. Typical cab grade aquamarine here on the left. And there's no restrictions on, some of these fee mines you go to, like Jackson Crossroads used to be. They'll let you dig, you're going to pay so much, but if they think you found something that's worth $500 or more, you got to turn it over. There's none of that nonsense here. If you had a dump truck, you could fill it up with whatever you wanted. That's the way it works. So one of the things I found that was a little bit challenging was both of these were star stones, but getting your eye oriented to the star and getting your camera lens oriented to the star are two different things. But these were gorgeous cabs. Here's some in the shop on the right hand. You could see they're really, really gorgeous, semi-transparent. He also has some that are faceted. This is gem material, rose quartz on the left-hand side here. You can also see some aquamarine and matrix. So I heard about this from Gina at Diamond Hill, and she and I are kind of friends, and we'd done a machine dig there in 2013, I think it was, and I had tried to connect with Chris several times before I actually did, but this was a great machine dig. I think there were probably 20 of us or so. And this was a boulder just loaded with rose quartz. It turns white if it sits out in the sun too long, but you can see the core is, if you could pick this up, you could have it. I mean, it's no big deal. So he kind of started trenching right away. He had a game plan. He knew that the road and high area, which you'll see it's elevated in one of the next slides, they pulled the equipment, the conveyors and the screens and stuff off of that area, and it had never been dug before. So anything that rolled off the screen or got, set to the side in a pile, it all went in this area here if it didn't go in a bag. So he thought, it might be a good opportunity to find some good stuff. So well, that's kind of loud, but this was not his regular machine, and you'll see later that he couldn't really use it for what he wanted to. But for this part, opening up the road, they're mainly looking for barrels and good quality rose quartz that was in the spoils. So here's how it was mounded up, and there was all this equipment on here before. The owner, I think, felt like maybe he shouldn't have gotten rid of it, but he gave it away for practically nothing. And by the time Chris got involved, it was pretty much gone. But you can see he's digging a trench right along this area where some of the conveyors were. And I had already been out there poking around when he first started digging, and you'll see in just a minute here. This wasn't a real big crew for the machine dig. It's got to be just enough for you know, to
Okay,
cover his costs.
Chris is pulling away some spoil material from where all the big barrel was mined. And here is my first barrel crystal with possibly some cuttable alkali. Very nice. For the first shot. Weighs about a quarter of a pound plus, maybe a half a pound. Anyway, we'll stop back by later.
So, this young lady was part of the crew, and her husband was in the military. He was getting transferred to Germany, and she had always wanted to go here and dig. He told her that he could take two specimens back on. She could take two specimens back on the plane. So we thought that was great. But you can see the gravel layer here, and this is off the conveyor. You know, screening material that either went through or got vibrated off and just dumped right next to the conveyors. I don't know if you know the saying, big bait, big fish, but we kind of joked around, you know, big rocks, big barrel when it came to this thing. So,
Okay. Did you find a nice piece of barrel right there? Outstanding, outstanding. And the spoils. That's great. Chris has dug us a real nice trench here. Side cast.
so anyway, you got to get the idea. You know, once you got the main trench on the north slope finished, you cut a second trench on the south side, which is to the left of the haul road. And then the plan was to dig it all out and build a road over to the right here by the trees. And you know, this was one of the bigger barrels I found. You could see it's pretty ugly. It's got a good shape, weighed about 3 pounds, I guess. But I found it with, you know, it just rolled out within 30 minutes of him starting a trench. Here's some of my haul from about mid-morning. A lot of facet grade, high quality rose quartz. One really nice crystal. All of the barrel from this location is chalky on the rind for the most part. There are occasionally a few that are glassy and gemmy on the surface, but for the most part, they have a chalky rind. They aren't that attractive, but it is, you know, some of them you retain like this one are retained for the crystal shape. It's terminated. It's a nice chunky crystal. Good example from there. Some I have from the quartz that are in quartz that are small or pretty gemmy. But there are some larger pieces that will have zones in them that are facet grade or cab grade, even though you have this chalky rind on the outside. So here's another nice barrel I picked up, and I didn't realize it until later on that he actually had a cleaning table with wash, you know, flats in it. Here's another example. This was my biggest crystal. I think this was 4 pounds. This one on the right, you can see the pencil habit. This hex pencil structure is very common in you know, mine grade barrel. So this was a productive zone as he expected. You could see people were getting large barrels and handfuls. Really good production out of that zone. And that was, you know, those were spoils. This fella here on the right-hand side is pretty funny. He was a little off. His father dropped him off, and you know, he's a nice fella and all, but he wasn't, you know, he's a little bit off. So we cleaned out his hole because he collapsed it, and we were digging right next to him, and he thought we were digging stuff. So we took a break because it was hot. It gets really hot here in the summertime, you know, 95, 100 degrees, no air. That's why everybody on the left-hand side here brought tents and Walmart umbrellas. The woman here with the pink gloves on, that's Terry. I forget her last name, but she was the one that found the floor pocket of emeralds at a club dig at North American Emerald Mines. I think it was in 2010. It's worth like 50 grand. Her and Joe come up all the time. I got to dig with them. That was nice. Here he is digging in my hole. So anyway, I didn't really care. We already found a couple of good pieces, but he pulled out two really nice ones. Here's a large chunk that has rose quartz in it. You can tell people just go up and pound and pound and pound on this, but it just turns to powder and, flies flakes and stick in your face. So it's not pleasant. On the right-hand side here, you can actually see this lump of quartz core, and this runs all the way down and into the woods. It's been mostly dug out in this area. He dug this pit out on the second machine dig, and you'll see we got up underneath of it. But you see how wide his bucket is and how short those tracks are. It was not the right piece of equipment he had planned to dig this out, and he just couldn't get in there. The bucket was too wide and the machine was rocking back and forth. So we tried to hand dig it a little bit, which you'll see in a minute, but didn't work out too well. So this white material is a kaolin clay. Down south, everything's very, very deeply weathered. It's not like the pegmatites in Maine where, glaciation has scoured topsoil and anything that was, would have been decomposed rock right down as bare rock, practically right at the surface. Soils are very thin. Soils down here are very deep. They tend to be red, and high in iron oxide. But what you're looking at here is mainly kaolin. Here's some quartz, and there had been underneath here, if you can see my cursor working back and forth, there had been barrels taken out of here before that were embedded in the edge of the quartz core. So here on the left, you'll see, look at this sucker here. That is the negative crystal impression of a barrel that was 16 inches across from one side to the other. Who knows how much it stuck out? But just to give you an idea, the barrels form first, the quartz congeals around them, but it's a gel, more or less, consistency material, even when the barrels are crystallizing. So this is where he needed to get with the machine. It just didn't work out. It wasn't the right machine. So we didn't really get into that zone very much. But he did tear the top off a section of the rose quartzy zone of the pegmatite that had been covered up with soil to protect it from the sun, just natural soil, hadn't really been dug before. So here's Chris.
Let me get it going here.
Chris has
Alrighty.
two phones. That's
Pretty-
one for
pretty pretty.
his personal and one for his business back in the day. I always teased him. I said, "Is that your drug running phone there?" He'll laugh. Look at all that rose quartz he broke up. People were going away with tons of stuff. Fantastic. And that's Terry and Joe. Sorry for the viewer courtesy, that speed video there.
Let me get it going here.
So this was a really, really nice chunk that came out. You could see the deep lilac rose color on that. That was all gemmy all the way through pretty much. Another photograph here on the right. Just a tremendous amount of material people were carrying buckets out. Yeah, this cat dirt bucket, that's mine. I've filled up a bunch of those. Whoop, there we go. So yeah, so you see I filled up a bunch. I took that all home. So here we are trying to dig by hand, this zone where we were hoping to get into some barrels, but it was just too hot. The temperature in the cab, Chris said, was 140 degrees in the cab of the machine, and it was 120 in the pit. So we just got out before we got sick. But there is a little bit going on here. Again, it's cleaning off all of this fill that's gotten in up against the quartz. You can tell when he hits the quartz because it tinks. Ideally, we do this with the
A lot of
machine.
mica there.
Way down there. Yeah.
Yeah, I just could not get it. I was hitting the wall over there.
We've done back here before in Fountain.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That here when they had the TV, remember?
I thought so, yeah.
I had it about
Yeah.
to right here.
Yeah,
There were people down in there.
yeah, I was down there. I went
There's a
to
little barrel there. One barrel everywhere. Just gotta get into the rock.
Yeah.
So I was able to get into the kaolin underneath of the quartz plug, which kind of pinches and swells, and it seems like it dips a little bit to the south, but it's difficult to say. It's it's a odd shaped plug. It's not like a dike. So there was some big mica in there. That was interesting, but you'd be surprised that kaolin, as soft as it is so tight. You literally have to jam, pound your shovel in and then pry it out. It's crazy. So there was a dig after the dig kind of a thing. Look at all the cars that are here. Once the machine dig was essentially over, and we're done digging with the machine, and he lets the public in for $35 a pop, and the place was full. The word gets around, everybody knows. Here's Joe and Chris pointing out some barrel lodged in the rose quartz, and on the right hand side here you can see it's an equal opportunity for any age. That's a pretty good sized barrel crystal she's got cleaning up. My haul, the coolers are full, the cat dirt buckets are full, everything's full, and I was loaded up and ready to go. I just put some plywood inside the thing. Believe it or not, that was a remediation trailer that had a thermal desorption unit on it, and I got it and another trailer for $100 for the titles. They've been sitting on a site for so long. Cost about $700 to get new wheels and tires and get the electric and the brakes and the battery. And I can haul gross vehicle weight on that thing 7,700 pounds. So except I was more worried about the truck transmission than I was about the trailer hauling all those rocks back. But it was every bit of 1,000 pounds. All right, advance. There we go. So I get it home, pressure wash it. Look, this stuff is really beautiful. And I finally got rid of that box. That timber box there was my dad and I made back in 1973 or 4 to go gem mining at Spruce Pine and carry all our tools. And it was a ready rig. So it gave up the ghost on this job. But and I've sold some of these pieces too. I still have a few left, but they're pretty good size. The piece on the left-hand side, that's all gem in there. And the gem material kind of comes out in odd shaped rods. It's got junky, rose quartz around it, but the rods they're solid gem grade. That one was heavy. It was like 70, 80 pounds. This is all gem in the end of this one. You see I got buckets running up the back of my house. And there's another big piece. This is just for scale. That's a 5-foot level. That's my big screen for washing stuff. There's a nice piece, nice hand sample. These are all gem sections in here. You can tell that's all cutting material. This is lighter, but it's very, very silky and would most likely make some nice star stones. This with the white lines in it is kind of thing that's people like to have for their rock gardens or whatever. I did save one piece of mica just so people could see what it looked like. Here's some high quality cuttable rose quartz here. This material will go for at least $1 a gram. More of the same. So I mean, for me, it was a great haul. I still have a lot of this material left, but I don't cut anymore. So I came back the next year, and he had the right machine this time. Longer tracks, narrower bucket, bigger reach. So round two. So he rips some more trenches in, and not quite as exciting as the previous year. You can see there's not a lot of those big rock zones in here, but there were still barrels found, and there was some gem barrel found in the spoils. We're back again here trying to dig in this material. I found a real good piece of rose quartz on the backside of this pile. And somebody found, I think it was a 50 or 60 carat gemmy piece of aquamarine on that pile. Hadn't rained in a while, so you did a test pit out in the woods. All the quartz was clear, so it wasn't all that exciting, but it was good to exploration to see where things were. It's a pretty good sized mine, and there was a lot of spoils all over the place. So just in case you decide to go, LaGrange is definitely not without its creature comforts. And I got, yeah, so I did that the first time, but I found the sushi joint later. So here we are now that he's dug out that mud hole, and we're right up against the quartz body. And one of the things I like doing, what I like about machine digs is not just the level of production you get in terms of finding stuff, but you get right up against the natural rock and see the geology and the mineralization up close and personal. So what Joe's pointing to here on the right is a beryl crystal. It doesn't look like much. It's broken off, and it turns out there are quite a few of them in here. We worked this spot for a while, but of course I had to walk around and take some geo pictures. But this is in the hole here, and this on the left-hand side is kind of a perspective of where we're at. Joe's standing on top of the quartz core, and we are down in the hole down here. That's a spoil pile. And what I'm looking at here, right underneath of the quartz, very, very clean white kaolin clay. I'm not 100% certain what the original mineral was for the black, but I suspect it might have been garnets or something like that. But look, if you can see me circling, there's an aquamarine crystal right there in the clay. And this is the association when you start seeing this really white pure clay and these big mica books, it's time to start looking for the beryl.
Huh.
So on the right-hand side, you can see it's kind of crumbly, rotten, but that in fact is a pretty decent little crystal. This was our hole we had working, and my tools, their tools, and all of this hard-looking stuff here is the solid quartz core. So here's a sample of a beryl crystal. You see they're really ugly on the outside. And in this zone, we were in a fault zone. The barrels had been, fractured by faulting, and they had quartz filling in between them. So they weren't coming out perfectly whole, but you can see I got a pancake stack of segments off of one crystal that came out before this one, I think. Or no, this was that crystal. There's a crystal there. There's other crystals in this area here. We dug quite a bit out. Here's a crystal right in the wall in the quartz. And that's one there. It doesn't look like much, but that is one. And there's one in the back here. So it gives you a sense of what's going on. And there's a little bit of a fault in here that caused some fracturing. It's a short little video.
It was over here. It is going, yeah. Okay.
Hopefully I didn't drop any
Resistant.
F-bomb. Yeah, we used to be
So we gently wiggle this guy out. Oh, he's still broke. But there's a massive, massive piece. Oh, there's more of it in here, isn't
Yeah.
it? Okay. So that's a big old beryl crystal. I think I'm gonna take what I got because I've got the cap. If you guys want to work the rest of it out, that's the back end of it, I think. Maybe.
It is.
Yeah, and that's another crystal there. I mean, and that's a crystal there. There were crystals all over the place. So Terry and Joe and I decided to tackle this, and I worked up an appetite, found the sushi joint. Those of you that know me know I'm a sushi. I had sushi for lunch today. I can't live without it. It's a thing. Just to give you an idea of size of the beryl crystals that have come out of there. Chris said she came back like 6 weekends in a row to work this one out, and he protected it for her. But I mean, look at that thing. It's enormous. And there are some pretty nice quality stones that have come out of there, especially this trillion's really nice and dark. And here's some faceted rose quartz. Beautiful, large stones, some of them 200-300 carats. Here's a gray, smoky star stone. Some rose quartz rough on the left here, typical beryl with a cutting grade material in the corner there, and some clean aqua chunk on the right here. You should definitely go check out his Facebook page if you want to see more mineral and gem porn. These star stones are just fabulous. I don't know who he got to take the pictures. And look how dark this aqua is on the left here, and how dark this rose quartz cutting material is. And of course, over here, here's another really large beryl crystal with a water bottle for scale. Look at that star stone. Wonderful stuff. If you like to cut, if you're a lapidarist, it's inexpensive, and it yields really beautiful stones. Large chunk of gemmy here on the right. That's a star stone, but I couldn't get the star to save my life trying to take a picture of it. On the right here is more cutting material, really good high quality rose quartz. Here's some very gemmy sections of facet quality aquamarine. It's not unusual because they did blast to find fragments on the surface in the woods, just washing out from the rain because of the direction that the blast material was thrown. More rose quartz stars. That looks a lot like the rod that I got on my first dig. Just absolutely pure. And those rods, they're really gemmy material. It's kind of funny. It seems like it separates out from the rest of the quartz as a separate rod, and the soil doesn't stick to it very well compared to just regular quartz. You almost have to scrub. Here's a really good sized chunk of gem quality. You could see the ugly chalky round on the outside, but inside it's got all these sections of gemmy material. Here's a chunk of aqua on this side, cab grade. Here's a handful of cabbing material. That one might facet. And this is what what it looks like when you start beating on a massive block that has those gemmy rose quartz rods in it. Shots in the cabinet. There have been a lot of new things found, some smoky quartz crystals, almandite garnets, and schorl in different places. More gem rose quartz. Here's some tourmaline from a new pit. I'll show you where that's at. That's up near the road. More gem quartz. Big barrels. Big barrels. Remember, big rocks, big gems. This one he's polished the outside of and has a lot of good gemmy material in it. So current situation, well, going back now to 2022, when I stopped to visit with him, there wasn't anybody there that day. We spent most of our time when I wasn't flying under the roof of his little lean-to here, just shooting the breeze. So here's a drone shot looking back at the road. You're looking easterly, not due east, I don't think, is the shop. It has a lot of good stuff in there. If you go down there, if you do nothing else, you got to look at the cut stones and big stuff he has in the cases. And he has this is locked most of the time. By 2022, he had turned these things over pretty good and built the new road. And he'd done a tourmaline dig, and they found some terminated schorl in this pit up here, but I think they had to stop because they got I think they might have gotten into some communication cables or something.
Oh,
Oops. He got into something, he said he had to stop, but anyway, it's kind of cool. These are all drone shots I just took real quick, but you might get interested in it. After heavy rains, you'd be surprised what washes out. And like many other mines, people, for gem materials, people will, are smart. After rain, they'll show up and they'll just walk these piles. You don't even really have to dig, and stuff will pop out. And this is the quartz core. This is where we were digging. And there's been other things found here on this side. That's where that lady's big barrel was found on this south side. So not as much left of this hump as it was before, but of course the hole always fills in. Get a few more shots here, just it's looking back. A couple of these are all rose quartz. They're starting to bleach out. People come here and they beat on them for hours, spend half a day beating on them, and they get nothing out of it. The quartz just doesn't want to break. You got to drill it and blow it up, I guess. So you can see this quartz core just keeps going. It actually goes further than it's mapped. There's a big water body reservoir out here that's on the property, and these quartz veins just keep going right on in and down into the water. So this is a view of some new area that he's dug out. There's another quartz ledge right in here. Look at how white all this kaolin is. It's pretty cool. So just dialing in, looking at this is where the smoky quartz crystals came from in this part of the pegmatite here. And here's some more. Oh, isn't that nice? Look at that gemmy rose quartz. So, and pointing out here, this is a sideways impression of a beryl crystal. And, this is this ledge of quartz. All of these little pock holes in here, they're all negative crystal impressions of beryls that have rotted out. And you can see somebody's been trying to tunnel in here. I thought we were a while. Oh, yeah. This was a 210 carat gem aqua. I believe he said they were going to try to cut it into a marquee, but I haven't heard any more. This was one of those blast frags that was found on the surface after a rain in the woods to the north of the pit, probably at least 150 feet from the actual mine, the quartz core. It's a big mass of schorl on the right hand side here. Couple of garnets that had come out since my 2019 machine dig. I think these were found in 2021, 2022. And here's a terminated schorl crystal that was found. Some smoky quartz crystals that were found in that new ledge. And, he welcomes you to come to the Hogg mine. So that's it.
All right.
Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Bill?
You ready for a nap? Ready to go.
What does he charge dig for a day there, Bill?
It's 35 per person per day. The machine digs, they're more expensive. And usually there are two types of machine digs. There are private digs, which you'd have to call him and ask him about that, tell him how many days, but it's going to be several $1,000s. But if you're part of one of the organized machine digs, it's usually my fee for back then was $135 a day for 3 days. And the first one was definitely worth it. The second one, I had never, I've dug a lot of beryl at the Ray mine and mines in various places in the dumps. And you get excited when you find one, but it's not systematic at all. You don't have to be a geologist with, a master's or PhD. You don't have to, you could be a 10-year-old kid. It's just random, what rock do you turn over? But to actually get the second machine dig, to actually get to mine crystals in place and get that up close and personal understanding of the relationships between the quartz core, the beryl in the quartz core, the mica, the super white kaolinite, and the beryl that occurs in that. It was I was I had a good time. Let's put it that way. I learned a lot. And it was always fun hanging with Joe and Terry because Terry, I mean, Terry's the goddess of the emerald floor pocket. So they showed me some that they kept. I mean, they were like that and green and terminated and crazy. As much as time as I spent digging at Hiddenite in my college years, I only ever found some things that were like pencil leads. Just not very green. I found it, but I mean, not just no money, no money. Not money specimens, just examples. So
Right.
so yeah, he doesn't have a website. He has a Facebook page. So you want to contact him through the Facebook page. I can't guarantee you that you'll get a response right away. Don't just show up. Um, it might not be open. And he did just get married. I don't know if he's back from his honeymoon or not, but his voicemail's full. So uh, whatever he's doing, cleaning out his voicemail is not a priority.
Look at the
Great
comments over
guy.
here. Yeah,
Yeah, great
Dwayne.
guy. And I highly recommend the Mind for you keep whatever you find, and it's not terribly difficult to find that stuff, even without the machine deck. It's easy to find good quality stuff.
Yeah, Dwayne, this is at Hog Mines in Georgia. The original scheduled program will be viewed at a later date. uh that we
Oh
did have
yeah,
scheduled.
sorry about that. Yeah, it was I just haven't had time to pull that main thing together. Um, but I think maybe this time next year I'll have that one ready to go for you guys.
Okay. Melanie Markowski, I was going to tell you this when I was recognizing you that of course I'm pretty done with plants, but I can identify a dogwood by its bark. Uh, so my last comment for the night, if a parsley farmer is sued, can they garnish his wages? If you can find the answer to that, let me know in the next 2 weeks until I see you again. Uh, I did get some comments back from you folks that viewed that video that I sent out about the why was it so severe flooding in Western North Carolina around um, Bat Cave and of course also including Asheville. It's a half hour long, but it's a great video if you haven't viewed it yet. It's it's worth the watch. So it's pretty cool. It's through the eyes of a geologist. So without further ado, we're going to process this video. We'll go on to our website, jonesgeo.us, under Zoom Rock Room, where most of the other videos are hiding. So you can go view it anytime you want to see it. So we want to wish everybody a great night tonight, and next 2 weeks, I'll see you on November 19th. Talk to you about Atreus Wainer, one of my favorite people that I wish I could have met when I was a young man, and he would have been still living too.
Jerry, you heal up that knee.
What's that?
You heal up that knee.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll be like I said, I'll be well, actually, when my wife had her knee done in April of 2023 in recovery, she had to go to the bathroom. She said, Can I walk to the bathroom?" And they said, "Sure, help yourself." So of course she had to use a walker, but yeah, she's walking right away. So yep, I'll be walking right away too, I think. So appreciate
You'll
the
do
Good
comment.
great.
luck.
You'll do great. Good luck.
You'll be fine.
Thanks, Bill. Good job.
Yep, I'm gonna bug out, everybody. Thank you. We'll see
Okay,
you
Bill.
next.
Thank you again, sir.
Good night,
Good night.
everybody.
Okay, we're gonna let everybody run, and we'll see you on November 19th. Be safe.